Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Alyssa, welcome back from being sick last week.
Oh, thank you so much. It's good to be back.
You sound great.
I sound much better.
All right, the news this week. There's a lot of it. We're going to focus on a couple of stories. Namely, Alyssa, I have a burning question that just keeps coming up for me.
Erin, you know that last week I had to miss your question, so I am so girded for whatever you are here to bring me today.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're girded. I just want to know, are members of the current GOP really that stupid? Or are they just playing to a base of people who, above all else, value stupidity?
I think it is a fairly even split.
Okay. So I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go through a couple of stories with you that we're both familiar with from this week. And we're going to discuss whether or not this is a reflection of genuine, authentic American stupidity or stupidity being played like an incurious person who understands the value of playing dumb.
Okay.
So the first story, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I oscillate on this person. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in focus again this week because she is being forced to testify on her own behalf after concerned citizens have alluded to the fact that she shouldn't be eligible to run for re-election on account of the fact that she was advocating a little, as they said on Arrested Development, light treason, which under the law in her state of Georgia would disqualify her from running for any elected office. So, during her testimony, she's been doing a lot of I don't recall, which I think you and I can agree.
She recalls.
Right. That's played up stupidity. That's what a lawyer who's like, my client's guilty as fuck. You don't remember being guilty. And that's our genius country's get out of jail free card is just pretending to be dumb. It's written into our laws. If you pretend to be dumb, nothing can really come for you except receipts. Receipts can come for you.
There are always receipts.
So, Alyssa, have you been following the story of the text messages from Mark Meadows from around January 6th that have come out?
I been following them? I found a graphic that had them all on them.
Oh my gosh, what a clean graphic. Who did that?
You can thank George Conway for this one.
What?
He was on CNN, so it's funny. I happened to see him on CNN, and they put the graphic up, and I was like, I have to find that. That's a helpful graphic. And I found it.
George Conway is the only Republican who understands graphic design.
No. I think CNN did it based on what he was saying.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sorry, but he is the one who caught my eye.
Okay. Real quick, this is going to be a catty thing, but I say catty things about women's hair, so I'm going to say something catty about a man's hair.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. You just go for it.
Okay. When you were a kid, did you ever play that game in the swimming pool where you would flip your head upside down and then flip
it back,
your hair up?
Yeah.
The George Washington?
Yes.
Girls know what I'm talking about. Anyway, or anybody who ever had long hair knows what I'm talking about, I think. I think that's George Conway's vibe. He goes into the stylish.
It's that vibe meets Bill Richardson. That's kind of his sweet spot.
That was a catty aside, but let's proceed. What did the text messages say?
Okay, let me give you some of my faves. Mick Mulvaney to Mark Meadows. Mark, he needs to stop this now. Can I do anything to help? Marjorie Taylor Greene to Mark Meadows. Mark, I was just told there is an active shooter on the first floor of the Capitol. Please tell the president to calm people. This isn't the way to solve anything. Donald Trump Jr. to Mark Meadows. He's got to condemn this shit ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough. Donald Trump Jr. again to Mark Meadows. This is one you have to go to the mattresses on. They will try to fuck his entire legacy on this if it gets worse. And my personal fave, Ryan Priebus to Mark Meadows, in all caps, tell them to go home.
Okay, first of all, thank you, CNN, for sort of soft revealing your sources on some of this stuff.
Totes.
Anybody who looks good in a story this bad, who has previously been looking pretty bad, look, little journalism, info. Anybody who's normally looking bad, looking suddenly good in a story that makes someone else look much worse.
They're the source.
Often is cooperating with the person.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a source, but at least cooperative.
Correct.
Or like if someone is happy with a story, usually they cooperated with the story. So I'm not going to be like, oh, what a hero, Don Jr. And also like another aside, the fact that Don Jr. thinks that this is going to be the thing.
Totes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Here's why. But here's the thing. This is why you can bifurcate. You can separate these tweets out into who's just dumb and who's being stupid.
The text. Yeah. Who's dumb and who's being stupid.
Because Don Jr., like, his concern was that MAGA people were going to die. Like, he's like, like the whole thing was a bad vibe, but his concern was of a different, it wasn't like, this is terrible for democracy. I think he was more like, yo, we can't have the people who are voting for us get killed. Other people won't want to storm things if this happens.
Yeah. Storming is going to go out of fashion if this happens to end poorly. Yeah, the Marjorie Taylor Greene one, I think I've been on the fence about her because I'm like, she seems so stupid that there's no way this can't be like a kind of World Wrestling Federation from the 80s type of act.
100%. Like a fake half Nelson into a body slam.
Yeah.
Pile driver.
Exactly. This is her character. Her character is like, bitchy Georgia suburban McMansion.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah. And so I always thought that, okay, she's just playing it up. But then I saw this one text that made me think, ooh, I think she might actually be this stupid. And it was one where she refers to someone named Martial Law. M-A-R.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Martial Law. She said, in our private chat with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic, capital R republic, is for Trump to call for martial law. I don't know. Marshall as in Mathers, as in Thurgood.
All the marshals.
Yeah. I don't know on those things. I just wanted you to tell him they stole this election. We all know they will destroy our country next. Please tell him to declassify as much as possible so we can go after Biden and anyone else. So there's a lot of stupidity in that. It's like one of those Midwestern fruit salads that somehow has like pineapple and marshmallows.
Don't compare her to ambrosia. Ambrosia's delicious.
No, but sometimes there's like Jell-O in it. And anyway, it's that of stupidity because there's so many different elements here that I'm like, stupid, not stupid. So in our private chat with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic is for Trump. Okay, so that part seems like kind of not stupid to me.
Right.
She's removing herself from culpability by being like, many people are saying. But then she spells martial law like Thurgood Marshall, which he would be like he should come back as a ghost and haunt her just for like using a spelling of his fairly common name. And I just wanted her to be haunted by Thurgood Marshall. I think it'd be great. Martial law, which is not the way that it's spelled. I understand that some people have trouble with spelling, but I think martial law is definitely different than the name Marshall. And if you're an elected official, that's a difference that you should know. It's probably part of your job to know.
Or at least Google it before you say it.
Yeah, but then I go back to thinking, is she just pretending? I don't know on those things. I just wanted you to tell him. That's like 8th grade girl,
yes.
like logic. So, I mean, that's kind of like evil intelligence, but I don't know. They stole this election back to stupid. Back to stupid.
I think that she is not a smart person. Malevolent. I am not saying that, oh, she's not smart, so we shouldn't pay attention. I really think that she's nonsensical.
Yeah, so it's just like it starts like, okay, smart, and then she ends, they will destroy this country, or they will destroy our country next. Please tell him to declassify as much as possible so we can go after Biden and anyone else, which makes me think very stupid. Like,
yes.
very stupid. It's we were texting about that show on Netflix, The Ultimatum, that extremely convoluted dating show, and there's a couple cast members on that show who believe themselves to be masterminds, but are like in way over their depth.
100%.
Like lying about things that it's like, no, that's not
What are you doing?
Yeah. These are very easily accessible facts for us to have anyway. That's what this sort of reminds me of. A person who is smart about like very, very small things can be sometimes a little bit strategic, but thinks they're a lot more of a mastermind than they actually are.
Oh, I think that is a very deft description of what is going on with MTG.
Yeah. Well, somebody gave her confidence that she should
not deserve.
She should re-examine. There's a few other people that I think that are in the kind of Republican zeitgeist, and I hate that that's even a phrase, that I wanted to run past you. Mark Meadows. Really that stupid or playing it up?
Playing stupid. 100% playing stupid. Totally knows. I mean, let me just be clear about like how I define like knowing better. He knows better. You know what is right and what is wrong. And when you pretend that you don't know what's right exists, come on. He knows better. He has existed in this world. He developed this persona, literally, in the last couple of years. You know, it's like when you look back on people's history, you're like, when did he get so radical
He Hilaria
and crazy?
Hilaria Baldwin.
Suddenly
he's like, how do you say cucumber?
How do you say cucumber? Cucumbers.
And it's like, Mark Meadows, you're a lawyer.
Also, if you look at all the texts that people were sending him on January 6th, he never tells them to calm down, everything's fine, that nothing bad is happening at the Capitol. Like they all knew it was terrible and they willfully pretended after the fact that it was not. And that's what is so tragically hilarious about these texts, is that they all knew how bad it was. And then after it was over, they were like, you guys, they were tourists.
But here's the thing that makes me think maybe authentically stupid, because he, as they say, girl bossed a little too close to the sun by being registered to vote in 3 different states.
Oh, yeah, that was something, huh?
One of like his home is not a place he's ever lived before.
Right.
It's a trailer. I mean, like, I feel like if you're a public official railing against voter fraud, or, you know, carrying water for somebody who's railing against voter fraud, you have to make sure that shit is wrapped up tight for you.
Totally.
You know? I mean, that's what I mean. It's like maybe he just was too confident. He thought that nothing would happen to him, but like that's a sloppiness that betrays a stupidity.
100%, or just this utter hubris. I mean, if you'll remember, I don't know how many years ago it was at this point, but Dick Lugar, who was a senator from Indiana, like lost his seat because he didn't really live in Indiana anymore. And that was like before social media. So how did Mark Meadows think that this wasn't going to get found out?
I don't know because, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple easier ones, I think. Jim Jordan.
Oh, what do I think about Jim Jordan? GYM. I think he is stupid.
Yeah, agreed.
Right?
Yes, actually that's stupid. Kevin McCarthy.
Playing stupid.
Pushback. He's trying to beat a Cheney in a blood sport. That's stupid.
Okay, that is definitely stupid. But I think everything he's doing is in service of becoming speaker, which makes it calculated and therefore less stupid.
Okay.
So
yeah, Kevin McCarthy saying that New York Times reporting on some of his statements about President Trump in the aftermath of January 6th was 100% false. New York Times was like, wait a second, we've got a recording of your voice.
Yeah, it's not just receipts, it's recording.
It's a recording of your voice.
Lordy, there are always tapes.
Yeah, Lordy, there are tapes. And, you know, Congresswoman Cheney is involved. Like that's what I say. Never try to beat a Cheney in a blood sport.
they bring guns to a knife fight.
They bring guns to
anything.
They bring guns to a book club. Like they've always got guns. I cannot say anything nice about Cheneys except that they will fight you. And probably win, and it's not going to be nice. And I'm just glad that I'm not being fought by a Cheney. Okay, Senator Ron Johnson. He's not involved in like this direct batch of texts.
I feel like he's stupid.
He's genuinely stupid.
Right? I mean, he's genuinely stupid.
He is just like he's got the vacant Marshall Applewhite eyes, you know?
Yeah.
And I really can't wait for the voters of Wisconsin to unseat him this year.
He is always saying the opposite of what he said like a month earlier.
Yeah. He's like, I'm worried about his heavy metal poisoning type, like what's chemically going on with you. You are probably not mentally fit to hold the office that you hold type stuff. You deserve compassion and care, but you do not deserve the power that you have. Okay, yes, we agree. Ron Johnson, authentically stupid. Senator Marsha Blackburn
authentically stupid.
Rolling into Senate committee meetings like her stylist hates her guts.
Hates her guts.
She just wants everyone to know that Tennesseans are in favor of a border wall. Just
because it impacts Tennessee greatly. Being
so
close to a border.
Like, what border? What
utterly
state,
landlocked.
What state you trying to keep out, Marsha? Like, spill the tea.
She asked soon-to-be Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson if she could define being a woman. Was that right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Have also asked Ali Mayorkas. Anyway, she's one for the books.
Yeah, she's not great. Okay, I'm gonna two more for you.
Okay.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
He's dangerous because I think he's smart. So he's playing stupid. I don't think he's genuinely stupid.
Okay. Push back on the fact that he might actually be stupid.
Oh, there is evidence of this. Please do. I yield the floor.
Right. Because I think that he seems dangerous, but I also think that he wants to be branded as somebody who's dangerous and perhaps smarter than he actually is. Because in the past week, Florida's legislature has sent to DeSantis's desk 2 laws that are really stupid. One of them is more egregious because it disenfranchises Black voters and gerrymanders the state even more to shit and could possibly hand the GOP, I think, 4 additional seats in U.S. Congress. It's really bad. But that was kind of overshadowed by the fact that on the same day, the state passed a 2-page law that revoked Disney's special tax exempt status. 2-page law. So here's something that just came to light today, which I'm sure Disney knew this whole time, which is why they were just like, whatever. So since 1967, Disney has had special tax exempt status in Florida. They were enticed to build Disney World in Florida by this status, which is called Reedy Creek Improvement District. Basically, It means that they don't have to pay taxes and apply for permits and build or whatever in the same way that other places in Florida do. They're exempt from like some municipal taxes and stuff like that. They also can issue their own bonds. They operate as this like independent like government.
A little oasis.
Yes, within Florida. They're still part of Florida, but not part of Florida. So last week, the state of Florida was like, we're revoking that. You're going to be absorbed in the surrounding counties, Osceola and Orange. Today, Disney was like, no. No, you're not, because it's written right here into the contract that you guys signed with us in 1967 that says if this is ever dissolved, the state is responsible for all of our outstanding bond, our bond responsibilities. There's $1 billion worth in outstanding bonds that the Disney Corporation has written on behalf of the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which means that if Florida does, in fact, dissolve the special status, they're on the hook for $1 billion. They cannot dissolve it until they pay it.
And so Disney was kind of like, okay, thanks, see you later. Like they brushed it off their shoulder they just brushed it off their shoulder. They were like, okay, Ron.
I hate that I'm being forced to side with a giant corporation that has...
We're not siding with them. We are enjoying the fact that the governor of Florida made this big, splashy, look at me, I'm such a bad bitch move. And they were like, precious.
Yeah. You know what I think would have been really funny of Disney? And like they're one company. They're like the Cheney family of mega corporations. I would just not fight. Fighting with Disney seems like a uphill battle. I think it would be funny if they would have released a statement with the headline, "A Goofy Move," because it was a goofy move. It was so funny. Maybe it's funny. I don't know. Maybe it's early. Maybe
it's funny. I would have loved that. That would have been so funny.
A goofy move. Okay, finally, last but not least, never least, Madison Cawthorn, North Carolina's finest, was recently arrested, wasn't he?
Again?
Again. He tried to bring a loaded gun to an airport again.
But this was after being caught on another DUI again.
He's gotten a few speeding tickets, I believe.
Speeding. Okay.
Yeah, he's not a good driver, but he's also not a good person, which probably should be more disqualifying for public office than being a bad driver. I know plenty of bad drivers who would make better representatives than Madison Cawthorn, who attended college, I think, for one semester and got a solid D average. Not that is whatever. Do you think Madison Cawthorn is authentically stupid?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Why is he allowed to bring a gun to an airport multiple times without ending up on some kind of no-fly list?
Erin, that is a terrific question for authorities because it seems like the average bear would be on a no-fly list by now.
I don't want to fly. I don't care if you're a, Supreme Court justice. I don't want to fly with a person who just like whoopsie doodles forgets that they're carrying a gun. He's also brought like knives to school board meetings. He's like the kid in school that's like opening a backpack full of fireworks and science. And you're like, look, I don't want to be like the Karen of 8th grade bio, but I'm feeling unsafe. I've got to tell an adult here.
This is problematic.
Yeah, this is problematic. I feel like he's authentically stupid.
He is. Oh, also, I just wanted to clarify. He drove on a revoked license. He wasn't just speeding.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? What?
Yeah.
Why are there people? Okay, look, I think we both know the answer to this question, but like, let me ask rhetorically. How are there people who are like in jail for 20 years waiting for, on dumbass pot charges? And here we've got Madison Cawthorn careening around, endangering people on different forms of transportation. This man is an enemy of getting to places safely.
He is. White privilege. There you go.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's good. I'm glad we solved all that. They all have like reasonable doubt that they could be.
Yes. It's
stupid.
not. None of this is a win for anybody on our list.
No court of, except Ron Johnson, I think we all agree is authentically an idiot. Okay, real quick. Elon Musk is buying Twitter for $44 billion. To cheers and fears of a free speech plan. I guess freedom isn't free. It costs about as much money as Yale currently has in its endowment fund. I had to look that fact up.
Oh, no shit.
Yale's got $42 billion in its endowment fund, a thing I learned today as I was prepping for the show. And Elon Musk is buying Twitter, free speech, for $44 billion. That seems, I don't know. What do you make of it, Alyssa?
I think it is, I guess we'll see what comes. It feels like to me, there are so many other things to spend that money on. I mean, because it's a very strange thing. By taking it private, they don't have to take advertiser money. I mean, he can really this is just his venture. He doesn't have to turn a profit. It doesn't have to be profitable. It can be he keeps calling it a town hall, a town square, whatever the fuck it is, that's what Twitter is. And it's going to just, I mean, it's hard to imagine that it doesn't get even more toxic than it is now.
Yeah.
Without guardrails. I mean, he calls himself, a free speech absolutist. I don't think I agree with that remotely.
Yeah.
Given some of the things we've seen on Twitter. But, look, it's been a bad place for a long time.
Have you ever been to a free concert in a park?
Only once.
Yeah, right. I feel like we have similar attitudes toward it. Imagine if Twitter right now, as it currently exists, being a publicly traded company with a degree of moderation, is like a free concert in a park. Not great. crowded. I'm more upset now than I was. Like every time I log on, I feel worse when I log off. I'm like, was that worth it? The time, the thought, the anxiety, was that worth it? No. I feel like it's about to become a free concert in a park with no rules.
No rules and no porta potties.
No porta potties. We are free shit absolutists. Everybody can just poop wherever they want in Elon Musk's Twitter. I think that, on one hand, it's like it was bad while it lasted. On the other hand, like nothing gold can stay, because like no social media website's going to last forever. And, eventually somebody's going to come in and change it in a way that makes it less suboptimal. But Twitter was never optimal in the first place. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not like as bent out of shape about it as some people are. I kind of want to wait and see. I also sort of wonder, this is me just asking questions, It feels as though this is a financial move for a person who might want to write some stuff off. Twitter's a money loser.
Interesting.
This is Twitter's a money loser. Tesla's kind of starting to see some headlines about its like auto self-driving and summoning features and stuff like are sort of reflecting poorly on that company. I wonder if this has something to do more with Elon Musk's holistic financial outlook and less to do with a free speech crusade. And just like the idea of a free speech crusade is easier for like John and Jane Q Twitter to understand.
Oh, I think you're right. Look, he did not get to be the world's richest man by being stupid. And so I'm sure that he sees lots of upside, whether it is being able to write things, write down some of his investments, do a little obfuscation, a little jiggery pokery, look over here so you don't look over here. But also I think that in his mind, this makes him the most powerful man. Like he's the richest man, and now he controls a space where like hundreds of millions of people go to share information or just harass each other.
I mean, Twitter was already kind of crappy, and I think you and I have both talked about how we'd both been using it a lot less.
Yeah.
And so I just think that like with a lack of moderation and pure free speech, it's going to be such an unpleasant user experience for so many people that I can't see it really surviving as more than like an 8chan on steroids until it burns itself out. But
well, that's the thing. It's like what you were saying just a little bit ago. I mean, it's going to become essentially like the WWF. This is going to be fighting and hitting people with chairs and here we go and this is how it was meant to be. And it's like, that's not what I really ever liked it for. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think it's just going to be like, like not virtue signaling, like vice signaling from conservative loudmouths who are just trying to like sick their like bot armies on each other. And it's just going to, my hope is that from this, reporters and people in the media are going to be able to finally like detach themselves from the spell of Twitter and understand that like what they're experiencing and elected officials. I think elected officials, especially older Gen X and older, lack the ability to like differentiate between Twitter and real life. They're like too online, and it's really a toxic environment. And I hate overuse of the word toxic, but it's very toxic. So I hope that people are able to sort of like detach a little bit and reconnect with like what actual reality looks like instead of like engaging with this bot infested hell site that just manufactures a never ending conveyor belt of sadness. Real quick before we take a break, Alyssa, you had some toasts this week. Do you want to call out some
toasts?
Yeah, toast a couple really women doing cool shit in a place where doing cool shit is very, very difficult right now.
It is, as you and I both know, we continue to see Putin's invasion of Ukraine on the news every night. One of the things that I don't want to say enjoyed about coverage, but that I have found different than in many past I don't know, wars,
Conflicts?
I guess. Yes, conflicts that we've seen, is that so much of the reporting we're seeing is being done by women. They are not just standing on the front lines being like, here's the war as it happens. They are taking us to show us the people who are impacted. Reporters like Isabel Young, Clarissa Ward, who very famously stopped her segment to help old women across the bridge and carry their bags. And I just they're crushing it. They're crushing it. They're there. They've been there almost nonstop in Ukraine and Poland. And it's very dangerous there. And I just their perspective is different than I think we've seen before. And I appreciate the compassion and empathy which they are reporting with.
Toast to them, and here's hoping that the conflict ends as soon as possible in a favorable fashion for the people of Ukraine.
Definitely.
It is. I feel petty. Dr. Heather, I'm going to have you go first. What are you feeling petty about this week?
So I took a flight on Friday after they've lifted the masks thing on public transportation. And the lady who was sitting in the row in front of me was coughing throughout the entirety of our flight with no mask on. And I was one of like a handful of people who had a mask on the whole flight. And I was like, of all the people on this flight who should have a mask on, it should be your little coffee self. And so I felt super duper petty about that. And I just gave her the evil eye that you could not see from the row behind her. But I was very upset. And I was like, literally, like, I want to take the mask off my face and put it on you. It would probably be helpful for the rest of us on the flight.
Oh my God. Coughing in public is now a thing that I am just like, excuse me.
Excuse you?
Exactly.
Yeah, take that outside.
It would be like someone just like walking around in public farting loudly. Like it's a similar emotional response from me. I was like getting my car, like doing regular maintenance on my car, and I was like in the like customer waiting area. And I was wearing a mask. I've got a baby at home, but also I don't need to tell fucking anybody why I'm wearing a mask. Just whatever. I'm choosing to do that for as long as I have a tiny little person I'm taking care of, and I care about other people. This woman's like, just like, she's like pouring herself coffee with the like community thing. What the fuck, lady? Oh my gosh, I so feel that, doctor. Okay, Alyssa, do you want to go next?
Sure. So you guys, I had COVID last week. Wasn't great. But when I finally tested negative, all I wanted was a milkshake. That's all I wanted. And I'm not going to lie and pretend like I don't eat McDonald's on occasion. I do. The French fries are great. So I go to the new McDonald's in town to get a milkshake. So excited. And they give it to me, and it had whipped cream on it. Okay, no. Hard no. The milkshake unto itself is plenty. The whipped cream had a funny taste, and it was so depressing and upsetting because I had not had – so I took Paxlovid while I was sick, which is the Pfizer COVID pill. And it one of the very, very common side effects is that it gives you a terrible taste in your mouth. And so I had been looking forward to this milkshake. Like, you have no idea. I was like, give it to me, give it to me. I acted like a 4-year-old. She hands it to me and I'm like, what is this? Like, what's this? And she's like, it's your milkshake. And I was like, why is there whipped cream? She's like, it comes with whipped cream. I'm like, shouldn't you say that? And she was like, what? I was like, I'm not going to be a dick. It's not her fault. So I pull away from the drive-through window and I just sat there and I like took a taste and I was like, this fucking sucks. And I got out of my car and I threw it in the garbage can because it was ruined by the whipped cream. So that's some petty shit.
Did you then get a replacement milkshake or like one somewhere else or satisfy that?
I didn't.
Oh no,
I didn't.
That's the worst part.
because I was mad at that point. I was like, well, fuck that. What I did do, actually, funny that you ask, I went home and made the Alison Roman shallot recipe, not to put on pasta, but pierogies, which my neighbors had brought over because I needed something to get the taste out of now. Not only did I have the Paxlovid taste in my mouth now, I had fake whipped cream taste in my mouth. So I was like, we're going to new broom sweep clean. We're just going to put shallots, anchovies, and some hot peppers. And that's how we call it a day.
I respect that.
you can't do just the half Karen. You're gonna Karen, you got to go full Karen.
But I didn't. But that was the thing. It was my look. I'm a middle-aged white lady. I know I got a little Karen deep down inside. Okay, I know I got a little bit. But I stopped myself because it wasn't her fault, okay?
Yeah,
it's McDonald's policy. It wasn't her fault. And I walked away. Okay, so in my view, I didn't Karen at all. I shoved Karen back down into the deep, dark place where she lived.
You did.
During my period. Okay, Karen only exists around my period. And I stopped her.
Valid.
Okay, fair enough. I rescind my
Thank
Karen
you so
comment.
much. Thank you. I grapple with enough. I don't need to be Karen.
I called you a garden gnome the other week, so I feel like I
Wait
need to
until you see the garden gnome I got.
I need to dial it back. Oh, I've seen the garden gnome.
No, there's a new one. There's a new one.
There's a new garden gnome? Good Lord.
There's a
okay.
new one.
We're going to have to talk more about this on text after we're done recording. Okay, so I'm going to go next. Here's what I'm feeling petty about this week. I just watched The Batman, which is really good. I really enjoyed it. Zoe Kravitz is the perfect Catwoman. She's so good. It's a really good version of Batman. It's like a really, I think it, it has it's not a perfect movie, but it's a good version of what it is. And great use of Nirvana. Never seen Nirvana used better in a soundtrack. But here's one thing that kind of stuck to me, that sticks to me a lot when I watch movies. And this is this trope where, there's it's like about to be the turning of the tide, and the bad guy is finally about to get his, it's like, and what happens is a character turns on the news, and a headline on the news is like, da-da-da-da-da was revealed today to be involved in a smuggling ring. And they're the subject of the story. Like, we can now report breaking news that, Bart Harley Jarvis is, behind a string of whatever, like corruption in City Hall, whatever. But here's the thing. If you're the subject of a news story that is huge breaking news, you are contacted by the outlet before they run the story. You know that the story is running. No outlet would run with something unless it was like explode. Like, no editor would be okay with running something without you at least reaching out for comment. Like, you send an email, you give them a call, and you're like, "Hi, I'm a reporter on Deadline. This, I'm writing a story about XYZ." Like, just over the past couple of weeks, Taylor Lorenz was talking about Libs of TikTok, which is this popular account that is sort of just like creepily scrapes videos of progressives and just reposts them, and was doing so anonymously, but in a way that was sort of feeding Fox News. And this person was going on Tucker incognito, and they were giving interviews to the New York Post. So it was very clearly somebody who it was in the public interest to know who they were. And so Taylor Lorenz wrote a story about, anyway, this person knew the story was coming. These people, you have to tell people. Like, look, I'm sorry if this piece of information means that now you know too much and movies are going to be ruined, but no reputable news organization would ever run a breaking news, bottom third headline without reaching out to the subject of that headline for comment. So it doesn't work. That trope doesn't work. And that's what I'm feeling petty about this week.
That was a good one.
Okay, Alison Leiby, what are you feeling petty about this week?
So for exercise, I swim at the YMCA. That is my exercise. And I've taken a little break, but I'm getting back into it as I get into a routine for this show. And I've been a swimmer my whole life. I swam competitively from 8 to 16. I swim for exercise all the time. I know how pool rules work, and there is a lap swimming etiquette to somebody going faster. And usually lanes are broken up at lap swimming pools and by speed. But I think that that's wrong, and they need to split them up by if you understand the rules of lap swimming. Because if you're going, I'm a pretty fast swimmer in the scheme of who goes to the YMCA at noon. It's not a high bar to clear. But if I'm swimming laps and somebody else, and there's one or two other people in the lane, and we have to circle swim, it's hard for me to get an exercise in because every 40 seconds I'm back around and you need to just let me pass. And a lot of people men don't respect this because they don't like the idea of someone being faster than them. And so they'll just start sprinting and waiting at the wall and trying to like time out, not letting me do that. And instead, then my workout just isn't very good. And I guess I'm just like mad at men. And it's not as petty. It's more global. But I want, I think like you should have to like prove you understand how this works. And you should have to know like if someone is behind you, you have to let them go in front of you so that they can keep going. Because otherwise I'm not getting not a lot of money's worth. It's the YMCA. It's like a very good price. So it's very frustrating because I want to go and just be able. That's why I usually go at noon. It's like no one else is there and I don't work. So
that sounds like a great way to split things up. So how do you discern between a person that understands the rules and a person that doesn't understand the rules?
Like before they get in the pool, there's no way to know. But once they get in, like there are people, mostly women, who like happily are like, oh, gee, I'm going to wait. You go ahead. Like who will get to the wall and no one behind them. And they'll just kind of move over and like, let me keep going. And like men will just be like, I can beat her. And it's like, you can't. I was like a nationally ranked swimmer in high school. Like, I promise you, I'm going to be faster than you all the time.
I love that. I promise you, you cannot beat me. You cannot. You're the Batman of the water.
Yes, I am.
I don't know what that even would entail. You're sad if you're.
Yeah, I was going to say trauma.
Yeah, I don't know. The bat is trauma. Yeah, I think that makes sense. They should do that at airports too. They should divide the lines between understands the rules, doesn't understand.
I think a lot of our society would be smoother if people would just acknowledge when they don't know how things work and like let people who do know how things work show them the way instead of just like forcing this assumption of like, yeah, I know I don't have to take my shoes off or I do have or whatever the hell is going on at TSA right now. It's truly, every line is different.
Yeah, every line is indeed different.